Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Well, today's a really nice sunny day out, which is perfect for this. And yeah, it's great. We've got two dash cam systems here by GKU. Now, they're an Amazon dealer and they do have these in the Amazon.ca store as well as Amazon.com. So check those video links below in the description. So we're going to unbox these to start with, one at a time, and then we're going to actually do a permanent install actually on this one, and we'll do a temporary on this one. Test them out, see what they're like for, their video footage and their features, and we'll go from there and tell you what we think in the end. Anyhow, let's start with the big one here, because this is the one we want permanent in the car. I've been wanting dash cams for a long time that are actually decent. I bought what was supposed to be a 720p dash cam years ago, and the source carried them. And I thought, all right, well, hey, why not? If you get in an accident, at least, things can be recorded. But I found that thing to be, well, not up to par with what they said was their quality of 720p. But I also really didn't like it too much. It was pretty chintzy. The night vision was really not the world's best, although kind of doable. But the new stuff that's out today has a lot of really cool features. So if we just take a look at the side of the box here, we've got IPS HD full touch screen. Now this one can do 4K, or you can set it for 1080p. We have a Sony IMX 415, looks like the lens. GPS. Now, from what I've been doing a little bit of research on this on the GPS, it's not a GPS where you can set your destination and follow the mirror, okay? It actually tracks where you're going, kind of like your phone does, right? We've got a G sensor, not sure what that is, we'll have to check the manual. Parking monitor, now that's kind of cool, because if you set this thing up to run off battery power all the time instead of, like if your cigarette lighter where you plug into shuts off when the car shuts off, well, the parking monitor is not going to help you any. So you need full-time power, and this way it can monitor and record motion. So when you're away from your car, pretty handy if someone wants to try and, vandalize your car, I guess, or, whatever type of thing, right? On the other side of the box here, it tells us we have reversing assistance, so we have a backup camera. We have loop recording, HDR, Wi-Fi, as well as, of course, our 4K resolution. So these things, anybody should be able to install these without any difficulty, but if you find that this is a little out of your league for the installation part, you're kind of like, I'm really not that technically inclined. Well, you can go to a garage, even have your own mechanic do it, whatever type of thing, right? Okay, so we do have a little warranty car here. That's pretty cool. Warranty car, get it? Anyways, little joke there. So we have our manual, which is going to take us through everything from formatting a micro SD card, which we're going to need to record stuff, obviously. Packing list, it's going to tell us all that stuff. The usual. Product overview. This should be everything that's in the box. So we'll leave that page actually open just to confirm everything is actually there. Product overview. Now this one's kind of neat. It's got kind of like some rubber straps that are on these hooks, and just fold over and hook her up to your rear view mirror that you currently have. I've also wanted to have something where it took the place of my rear view mirror, and this actually does. So now in what form that takes place, we're going to see when we open the box. If it's a mirror front or what exactly we have here. So, or if we can do it through the camera. I wonder if we could do split mode. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, so let's do this. And there's our mirror. Yep, so that's definitely mirrored. So this is going to take the place of a regular rear view. But of course we can have the display lit up because obviously we're recording front footage. What else have we got here? Operating temperature is from -20 Fahrenheit to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Please use a micro SD card, blah blah blah, class 10 or above. Yeah, we get that. Be sure to format the card before using it. Yep. For stable operation, please format the card regularly, which is actually a really good idea on any SD cards. I always need even on my computers, I format the cards all the time after, even if it's just a couple files I'm transferring. Keeps them healthy. Please use original power adapter, 5 volt 2.5 included in the package. Okay, so we got that and some basic instructions. Now we got a box full of goodies. Alright, so we've got our dash cam. We do have our camera here, as well as the cable that goes along with it. Pretty cool. Okay. Now I'm not going to take these all out of the packages right now because I don't want to mix anything up. Right? We have our GPS. Okay. And that just has some 3M tape type stuff. You stick it on the corner of your window kind of thing. You've got a certain amount of cable to play with, so pick your favorite spot and then tuck your cables away. Then of course we have our cigarette lighter adapter. Okay, so in the case of my vehicle, unless I rewire it, which I might, actually, you know what, I think I might actually do that for permanent power, because I can run a line right off my battery into my car and have a separate adapter just for this, and then I could keep it plugged in all the time. This way I don't disturb any of this. But because it has a USB connector on the end here to the camera. So I may wire this permanent, not right away though, of course, but we will end up doing that. And we've got a bunch of little rubbers for the mirror to connect. Okay, so in going over the packing list, we have our camera, we have straps ×2, we actually got ×4. So bonus there. I mean, these can wear out, so I would keep these in a Ziploc baggie and just keep them in a safe place where you're not going to lose them. We've got our GPS, yes. Car charger adapter, got it. There should be some screws here, yes. We got the screws in the bag here. With a mounting tape, which is going to be for our camera. Now our camera also has the screws, because you're going to use the tape and you're going to screw it in as well, okay, to wherever you're going to put it on the car. So you're going to need that. And of course we got our user manual, so everything's there in the box. That's cool. So let's take a look at the up top here. We've got our power adapter in, audio visual in. Now that's going to be for our backup camera, I would imagine. It's looking like it, yes. TF card slot, GPS plugs into there. We have our front camera here, which we should be able to, I think that's going to be a motorized view. I'm not going to mess with that until I can read the manual a bit more. So we got this strap, goes to here, and then just bingo. And it's going to stretch over top of your existing mirror to make sure it's tight, of course. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, aha, yes, we need to make things wider. We can make that a little wider out. So that's actually pretty cool. Power button looks like is the below button. And we have 2 microphones here, because this will record audio as well. So wondering if this thing actually has battery power or not. I'm going to say no. Does not have a built-in battery. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. At least we know. Or if it does, it's not active. But let's take a quick look at the manual and see. I'm kind of curious. Installation. Connect the car charger to the cigarette lighter, then USB connect to USB power. Input adjusting view of the angle camera. Front camera lens can be rotated up and down, left and right. Please manually adjust to a suitable position. Okay, so that means we can actually do this manually. Yep, we can. It's really stiff too. That's good. I like that. So it's not going to flop around. So yes, we can manually do that. We wanted to know. Now, as far as the wiring goes, I will show you guys the wiring afterward, or we'll just, yeah, I'll probably just show you the wiring afterwards, because it's going to take like at least an hour or so to install all the wiring and tuck it through all the vehicle. I really don't think you guys want to sit here for a video, because we're trying to do everything in one video for the company. So I'm going to save you guys the pain of the install, but I'll give you a quick rundown, probably, you know, a short segment of that at the very end or something. But yeah, it's looking like here, it doesn't say anything about a built-in battery. So I'm going to go with it probably doesn't have one. Because it would say in the manual if there is one, I would imagine. You know, quick push of the button, quick and hold. It doesn't feel like it has enough weight to have a battery in there. You never know. We'll find out when we plug it in if it's all of a sudden coming up with a battery charging indicator or not. But it doesn't say anything in here about a battery. It does go through our menu selections, of course, in here. Getting started. Screen brightness, playing back a video, the audio, look to the current video, main setup, rear screen flip. Oh, when the rear screen flip function, when this function is turned on, the screen will show a mirror image of the rear camera. Nice. I'm thinking this actually might do what I wanted to do in the end. Okay, parking monitor. The camera will be turned on automatically and start recording 20 seconds urgent video if there is a hit of the car during parking. The video will be saved. So it's not going to do it for detecting motion from the looks of things, but definitely if you get hit. Of course, I guess it depends on where you get hit if it's going to see it. That's the curious part. We're going to have to definitely dive deep into this thing. So you guys are definitely going to see update reviews on these products to let you know everything. Especially on this one because it's the most complex of them. Now, we don't have an installation guide. Okay, so, but it's not really that hard to do. They just... Or do they? Oh, wait a second. What do we got here? Oh, this is a reflective screen. Okay. That's cool. We'll have to go into that. Alright, I know you guys don't want to sit here forever. I can't do this in one video unless we get on with things. So... let me just move all this out of the way, because it's all got to be separate from one camera to the next. Let's check this little puppy out. Now this is your typical cheap dash cam. If you're kind of wondering, that one's about $150 on Amazon.ca. Less, of course, if you're in the States. And this one here is only, right now it's... on sale for $50 on Amazon.ca for this one here. Now, I do apologize for the lengthy video, guys. You know, in advance, it's doing two at once is what's been requested of me. So I thought, okay, let's do this. So there's our little camera. Now this thing apparently does have a battery in it. Yes, and it does. But I think it needs a recharge. I got a little blinky light and then that was it. Oh, I guess I just... yep, it's going to need a recharge. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to keep all this separate. Okay, so here's our backup cam. It's got our mounting bracket. There's different ways to mount these cameras too, by the way, different places. It's got to be mounted where it can be on your car, obviously, for the best views. because you are talking about a backup camera. Oh, and in this one we got the tool. Nice. This is going to come in handy for installing the other one with. Because this one I'm going to just do a temporary install with. The other one I'm going to do a permanent install. Because out of the two, I mean, you know, come on. I mean, you got to go for the best one, right? Anyways, so there's our 12-volt cigarette adapter, which will charge our camera too. Camera and camera cable. Now you do have to wire these cameras into one of your backup lights. You know, the white light on the back of your car that, you know, your parking light for backing up with. It has to be wired to either the left side or the right side, whichever side you choose to put it on. You will have to make sure you have correct polarity, so you're going to need a voltmeter, which, again, we will go through that, okay, just briefly. Customer service car as well, again, and of course we do have our manual. So our packing list, we have the bracket, we have the camera, we have this, which is our power cable, rear camera cable, and the camera. Yeah, it looks like everything's in this package here. Yeah, because that is, yeah, that's hooked right in, and then it just plugs into the other end for power. 3mm adhesive screws, yep, got them. The crowbar, they call this. Yes, everything's here, so we're all good to rock and roll on this one too. Okay, so this one I'm going to just repackage into the box. But we've got everything here that we need, including a really cool crowbar or spigot, whatever you want to call these things. This is for pulling out your interior carefully in order to run the wiring to where you need for the back end, and also for front power access, because you don't want a 12-volt cable, you know, laying down in front of your face, right? But this one here is kind of neat. You've got an HDMI connector here. You've got USB. We've got a TF card slot, of course. Our menu selection buttons. I was kind of like hoping the battery would have had enough charge in it to actually fire this puppy up, but we're going to have to charge that. So that's what we've got so far. Now we have to go out and install one of these things permanently into my car. I have a 2005 Echo, so it's probably going to take me a couple of hours, but you'll see it when it's done, and I'll give you that brief run through quickly. And then we'll test out the video and stuff and the backup camera, see how that works, and then we'll come back and we'll do a temporary install on this one, and we'll do the same testing at the same time, and you guys can judge for yourselves. Now as far as the quality of this one goes, this is 1080p full HD, the other one is 4K or 1080p, and the cameras are obviously going to be different from each other. They're different styles, and they both, of course, our rear cameras and our front cameras, I believe, too, both have, both have night vision on them, front and back. Definitely, yes, from what I saw, they both have night vision. So anyway, let's go do this, all right? So, instant for you.
Hey guys, how's it going? So, time to wrap this up, right? Alright, let's get on with this. It's a long video, I know. More videos to come though. We are going to do settings videos on both of these. I'm going to take you out to the car, show you how to actually hook up that red wire, especially if you don't have wires going to your backup lights. Like, I have no wires going to mine, so it's kind of like, I had to think about how am I going to do this now? Huh? Anyways, I'm going to solve that for you so you don't have to second guess and try and figure it out. Anyway, so they do in the manuals definitely give you basic layouts of how they think you should wire up your car and feed it through the interior stuff. It's still your choice in the end how you do things. Anyhow, so we know what comes in these boxes, we know what does not come in these boxes, but we know for sure this should be coming with that tool as well. So GKU, please start including the tool for the M11. Now, I went to their GKU Amazon store, and they only have the two cameras currently. Okay, they got this one and the M11. Now, this is more for your budget-friendly people who don't want to spend a lot of money. They just want to be able to record footage as they're driving, of course. They do want the ability to perhaps have backup camera usage that's going to work for you for the backup camera. Okay, but regular viewing out of the camera, which you can do that mode, you're really not going to see much of anything in the darkest of nights. But in well-lit streets, it will show you, yes, okay? But front cameras, regardless, no problem, okay? But we did find that with this one here, the back camera could be improved upon for its night vision, especially in the more darker of areas that you're probably going to venture into quite often. But otherwise, yeah, they're both really good units overall, okay? So I'm going to slam this one at a big 4 out of 5, okay? There's some things that I don't like about this, one of which is, of course, the backup camera. I'm not really fond of that one, other than for backup purposes at night and during the day. That's fine, but running it as a rear view camera mode, it's really not the greatest, okay? So unless somebody's coming behind you, it's kind of like you're really not going to see much or anything at night in dark areas. Okay, well lit, you're going to see something. But the one feature that's in here that really, I don't know why they put it in, was the split screen mode. Okay, now these cameras have a 170-degree wide view, okay? So that's great because a lot of your blind spots that are in your car are now like not even there anymore. But the thing is, with a really tiny screen, you're really not, during the day you would see more, of course, obviously on the screens for the different camera modes. But the split screen mode is pointless. It's a very small screen, and when you chop that in half and try and put footage here and footage there, it just makes no sense. And the viewing is horrible, okay? So that is a bit of a downside, is the split screen mode on this thing. Now this thing does have parking monitoring as well. Actually, both units have it. So with parking monitoring, there is a backup battery in this unit, okay? And it's only designed for that purpose. You cannot run this thing, like fully charge the battery and just run this and not have it plugged into the car. The battery will not last long, okay? It's only made for 24-hour surveillance, so that when you have that feature activated, it will keep an eye on things, and if you get hit, it's going to record it, and that's how it keeps an eye on things. It's an impact thing, right? And you set the sensitivity according, but just keep in mind that when you activate that feature, it could trigger recording emergency as well when driving, even though you just ran over a pothole or something. So, you know, it's kind of that thing. And both of them are affected the same way with the settings, okay? But otherwise, I think overall, I mean, for the budget people who only want to spend, like, you know, I mean, we're talking 50 bucks Canadian on sale right now. Links below for Amazon.com and .ca will be there for these, okay? So, States, Canada, doesn't matter. You can buy these. But in Canada right now, this is on sale for 50 bucks. So, anyway, and I think it's worth the 50 bucks, to be honest. For what its capabilities are, for the features it does have, it's definitely worth 50 bucks. It's just one feature needs to be removed, that's it. Or just don't use it, and that's the split screen. But otherwise, overall, I think it's a pretty good buy for those people who absolutely do not want to spend a lot of money, but they want a good quality recordable device for when they're driving in case something should happen, okay? This is a really good unit for that, okay? But you cannot use this thing as a rear view mirror, even though the ability is there to switch to that mode. You can't really use it because it's too small of a screen, right? So yeah, just stick with your rear view mirror that you have in your car now. It's going to be better. But for recording and all that jazz, works really well. So we're quite happy with the results overall. Just the nighttime thing, yeah, it's got some issues there, but for backing up at least at night, you're doing pretty good. And it does not have the assist, by the way, for the overlay markers. That's not in here. I wouldn't expect it to be either for 50 bucks. So, but anyway, overall, good little machine. I would recommend it for only those people that only want basically a basic, inexpensive unit, right? I bought into these cameras years ago. Dash cams came out 720p and it was like, oh, this is cool, man. Like 720p, I mean, that was the in thing back in the day, right? And yeah, trying to go through the menus and go through turning things on or off, oh, what a nightmare. And the quality of the display, oh, kabarf. Night vision? What night vision? And this was only front-facing cameras at that time. That's all we had. We didn't have the whole backup thing, right? At least not in those particular units that were available to get right off the shelf at the source. So yeah, and those were $100. It's like, this is 50 bucks today, several years later, but for 50 bucks, boy, do you get a lot for your money for 50 bucks nowadays. And it's a pretty good quality built unit. And the suction cup on this thing, oh my gosh. When I undid the suction cup to take it out of the car later, there's a little pull tab, and I had to really dig hard into that and still yank down. I was like, that's a good suction cup. I wish my GPS was that good, because that thing keeps falling off all the time. So anyway, we got to fix that one. So anyway, decent little unit either way, but only recommended for those people who just want that. If you want more than that, then no, I'm not going to recommend it because you're not going to like the backup camera for nighttime viewing. You're not going to, you're just not going to be happy, okay? So, but if you're looking for the inexpensive, yes, I think it's a good buy, and I think it deserves the 4 out of 5. Now, this little puppy, this is my dream machine. I have been hoping some company someday would invent one of these things that could replace not only my rear view mirror, but do everything else, right? And this answers that bill, okay? We have 4K technology in here. We can also set it to 2K or to 1080p, right? Now, by the way, with either one of these units, you do have to buy your own SD memory card, okay? It's a micro SD card. So I would recommend probably nothing more than a 128, or if you really want a lot of recording time, then maybe go for the 256 for that unit. This you probably want to lean more towards the 256 card if you're going to be at 2K or 4K recording, because that 128 is going to get filled up pretty quick. Okay, but at least when the cards do fill up and they can't jam anything else on, yeah, they're going to definitely let you know, hey, back up or reformat. Now, this thing also shares the parking monitoring assistant for in case you get hit when you're not in your car. However, it will not function unless you use the hardwire kit. Now, when you go to the link, whether you're .com or .ca, go down to the bottom near the page where it says commonly items bought with this. You're going to see the memory card being as a suggestion of a 128, and of course you can go to a 256, but you're also going to see the hardwire kit. This has got no backup battery, period, okay? No battery. So you have to hardwire it in, which means no cigarette lighter required. But this is more of a permanent install thing too, where it's definitely more of a permanent fixture because it's got an 11-inch screen. And it's a nice IPS panel, and it's HDR as well, plus the 4K. It's like, oh, Anyways, it's also got GPS, something that it does not have. So the GPS is nice because it has a tracking system. So you can track out things on your phone. I mean, it has a phone app. There's a lot of features. We'll have to go through those on all different videos, including settings videos for these and showing you how the car was wired. But the GPS in this, when you're recording your footage, not only does it record the day and the time and all that you're out, okay, but it also records your latitude and longitude, so your actual precise location. Okay, which is really handy to have too. So it's like, that's really sweet that it records that kind of data. But you need a GPS feature. That doesn't have that. This is only $100 more than that. I mean, seriously? I mean, I like this much better. Okay, but what this also gives you as well is many other features that it doesn't have. And with the 4K cameras on this thing, nighttime, even in dark of the country where I live, I can actually make out what's in my rear view mirror because I use this as a rear view mirror mainly, okay? But it also has split screen. And the split screen on this, I highly recommend because, you know, you got 11 inches split in half. So that's 5.5 inches per side. The left side is going to be your front camera, the right side, right rear. Get it? Okay, so that's going to be your rear view. And you're going to get a really good view on either side. Okay, so it's definitely the more superior unit, obviously, okay, especially for that split screen. But frontal view, if you have it on front view, which you can, but you're not going to be seeing out your back mirror because, oh wait, this replaces that whole rear view mirror. So I would probably either say run it in split mode all the time or run it as a rear view. Regardless, your footage gets recorded, you're golden, right? But I like the way the cameras also work too, because even though this thing's pretty stiff, I actually pretty much centered mine, you can tilt. Because it is attached to your rear view mirror, you still have your tilting ability in that, all that hinge work. So you just set it up the way you want it for, you know, this kind of thing and this kind of thing. And if you need more out of it, and you're kind of like not got that much more playroom left, then what you can do is you touch the screen, and on the left side, you just slide your finger up and down, and it actually changes the lens. Now, it doesn't physically move this part, and there's nothing to move on the back camera, but the actual lens element inside will actually pitch itself up or down more, so you can get that extra. And then you can really fool around with it until you get just so that you have lots of, you know, headroom space on that for adjustment, right? And it affects the rear camera separately as well. So you set this one up, boom, touch screen, go to the rear, you swipe to go between each screen mode, which is kind of a really cool feature too. It's just like touch and swipe. But you go to the rear and you set the angle up on that. Now, highly recommend. This thing has screws on the hinge work on the rear view camera. Tighten those up really snug before you install, because depending on how wide you got, you're not going to have much screwdriver room in there, okay? So pre-tighten that hinge up nice and stiff, put on the tape, stick it up in the place where you need it, right? And then screw it in with the screws. There's also tape and screws in the other one too. You need to use them to keep them on there, okay? Would not rely on that tape alone. So anyway, but once you get this camera angle set up, that camera angle you actually have to bend the thing because it's not hinged, so you'll have to bend that one into position, which is fine, no big deal. And it stays once it's done. But once you do that, you can adjust the rear camera from the screen as well, and separately and independently of the front. So that's kind of really cool. But there's so many other cool features we can't go through here. We're going to do separate videos for that. Now, parking mode assist though, we do have to get the hardwire kit. It's 25 bucks, but then you've always got power going to this unit all the time. Okay? Now, the one drawback that I can probably see is going to happen is that instead of, like right now, I turn off my car, this shuts off. Okay? I turn on my car, it turns on. I don't even have to touch the power switch down below on this thing. Okay? But I think once I hardwire it, what's going to happen is I'm going to be using that power switch at least for turning the unit off all the time. But once you turn on parking mode assist and it's active, every time you even power down the system, it is still running in the background with that other thing to keep an eye on the car in case you get hit. It'll record the footage. So that's actually kind of cool. Really liking that. But it's too bad they didn't include the hardwire kit and you just install that instead of using a cigarette lighter plug. But I guess it kind of depends. Some people may want to use the feature, some people don't want to use the feature. They included a battery with that one because it's a very basic $50 unit, and nobody's going to spend another, you know, 25, 30 bucks on a hardwire kit for that little guy. But you'll spend it for this for the hardwire kit. So I don't know. But I think they should have just forgone putting in the cigarette adapter with this and just going to the straight hardwire kit, period, and just having it included. You know, and maybe it would be $170, you know, give you a little bit of a discount there, right? But anyhow, to each their own. But they need to include the tool in these things too, because they did for that one, but they didn't for this. But anyway, but this has so many more features to it too that are so much more feature packed. But it is the creme de la creme, and it is basically, it's my dream machine for the camera, because like I said, I get all front, I get split screen, or I get all rear. I love it. It's fantastic. Nighttime in the darker areas, I can still use this as a rear view mirror, and even in the lowest of lighting that I've been through so far with this, I can still see relatively good out the back end with that camera. It's got a really good night vision camera on it in comparison to that one. So there's kind of the whole get what you pay for kind of deal. This is kind of where things are kind of at with these things, you know. So you buy cheaper, you do get less for your money, but at least you're getting the basics that you're really just needing, right? Where for me, this is like, not only do I really need this style, I really want this style, and somebody actually came up to the plate and answered my call. It's like front, all rear, or split. I love it. It replaces my whole rear view, and I have pretty blacked out windows on my car. So, you know, one of the things I've always struggled with was when it comes to parking in dark spaces where I had to back up. I'm like rolling down my window and I'm going, because I can't see squat at the back, you know, because it's pretty blacked out. You know, and I mean, I love my car the way it is, so I'm not going to change that. But this camera works really well for backup. The other camera works pretty good for backup too. So, you know, at night, it does work really well because your lights from your backup lights, they actually provide the extra illumination you need for backing up safely into a spot. So either one is fine, but being that this is also a really huge screen, you get to see a heck of a lot more, and you've got those assistant lines where that one, it's a smaller screen, so you're going to have to pay attention a little bit more to that screen if you're in that situation using the backup mode camera part of it. So it's kind of a, you know, whichever way you want to go with it. It would have been nice to see this coming with a little rechargeable battery built in too, but you know, you kind of they give you a heck of a lot more, so it's like, well, you know, there is a way around it on this one at least. You can just get that kit and away you go. So when I get the money, I'm actually going to pick up that kit because I want the permanent install and I want that monitoring feature. Okay, comes in handy too, even at malls during the daytime when you're at the mall. You know, people get their cars hit all the time. It's like, hey, you know, now you've got evidence here. So you can find out who smacked into you. And then you call the cops and say, hey, here's the guy's license plate number, and here's the car he was driving, and how'd you get that? I got a recording system. There you go. I think everybody should have this stuff. Anyways, but yeah, with the full IPS HD monitor on this thing too, it is fantastic. I cannot believe what you are getting here for 150 bucks, guys. This is really, really good. But again, if you're into this sort of tech that you want, this level of tech, it's still extremely affordable and it's really good stuff. So far, I'm very impressed. We still got to make it through a Canadian winter and see how it does. But, you know, given the temperature ranges they say it's supposed to be good for, it should do okay in the winter. But, you know, the truth always comes out when we have the situation to deal with, okay? So we'll see what happens this winter. There will be update review, of course, definitely for sure on this unit, you know, because that's the one that's installed. But, yeah, I think it definitely deserves a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely. It really does. There's not much I can really complain about this thing on other than, yeah, it doesn't have a battery, big deal, but we can get around that with the permanent install kit. Again, no big deal. 25 bucks, who cares? And you're done, you know? But this is really sweet. But these are also for cars that don't have these goodies already built in. And even some brand new cars out on the market, a lot of them still don't have any of these little goodies, you know. So you need to buy these goodies. You just got to decide at what level of expense do you want to go to. Do you want to have this, or do you want to go to something smaller, you know? But there's pros and cons to each. That's the thing. And, you know, so that's why I'm here telling you guys what I think. And the biggest thing I can see right now in the D100, other than they really should remove that split screen, is I really think they should put a little bit better quality camera in there, and for the rear end, and, you know, so that it's decent, you know, like especially for the darker night stuff. If they upgraded the camera in this to be a better rear view camera, rear end camera, I think it would justify an extra even $10 on the price tag, and I'm sure people would still buy it. Because as long as you can keep the price under $100, it's definitely going to be up in the ante. And there's so many choices out there to be had for this kind of gear, but this is the gear I've shown you from GKU. I think they've done a really great job overall with both. I think they did such an outstanding job with our 4K baby here. But again, stay tuned for more videos on settings between these things and the wiring thing, like I said, etc. But that's where I'm at. So thank you, by the way, GKU, for sending me these things to check out for myself and for other people, and to let you know what I think of the technology as well. A couple little minor changes goes a long way. Okay, as far as this thing goes, at least include the tool, okay? I mean, seriously, we need the tool. But I think it should even be an option, too, where, you know, hey, for this amount of extra, we'll include the hardwire kit, or if you want just the 12-volt plug-in, it'll be the $150 unit here. But we still need to get that toolkit, guys, for people that are they need to install this stuff. You know, memory cards, you're on your own, kids, but it has to be at least a class 10 or better memory card to work in these things properly. Okay, anything below a class 10 card is not going to function properly. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. Anyways, that's it. We're done. We'll see you in some future videos over the next little bit as I get more time to do some more videos on both of these for you guys. And the car thing, like I said, and we'll just continue on, and we'll see what happens in our update review come this winter time, how this thing handles the Canadian winter. All right, see ya.